Yeah, homie G, the code MC, rolling deep to your vicinity.
Yeah.
I just had an epiphany, I don't know what it did to me, but I'm hoping the devil doesn't get into me. Still a beast hoops, it is me, it's finna be off the chain with a brand new delivery.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a Screen GUI so that you can have like a settings screen or something. I don't know, this is all up to you. I don't care what you do with it. So what you want to do first, when you enter in like your base plate or a level that's already created, doesn't matter, it works in anything. But you want to go to Starter GUI and add a Screen GUI. In the Screen GUI, you want to add a frame. Now this frame, if you want to do something like the clip you saw before this, you can have it at any size, but you want to put it all the way over here. And then in this frame, we're going to call it the main frame. In this frame, add a text label, and you can call this whatever you want, such as a GUI selector. It can be anything. I'm calling it GUI selector version 1. I'm going to change the background color to a very dark gray. I'm now going to change it to Gotham bold and then text scaled. Now that's all you want to do there. I suggest changing the frame background to something else, such as black, because it looks kind of nice. Now you want to add a text button. What I suggest you do with this text button is get it to the size you want, position it how you want it, copy it, and then move it straight across. And do that for how many ever buttons you want. I'm only going to be adding 4 buttons because it takes a lot of work to keep adding certain things. We're just going to call this one text button 1. This is text button 2. This is text button 3, and this is text button 4. Alright, so what you want to do now is rename these buttons. So like, you can name it, well, the left side's going to be the open button. So you can name it like, open settings, for example. And then this side's going to be open, let's just say changelog. And this is close settings, and then this is close changelog. Now once you get your buttons in place, you can recolor all of them. I don't care what color you do, but for all my buttons, they're all going to end up with the same background color. So and then for this, I'm going to make them all Gotham bold, and then I'm going to have them all text scaled, so they look like this. Alright, now these are just buttons, but what you're going to have to do to make these work is create frames for each of these. So there's only 2 frames you have to create, which is only why I did 4 buttons, because these 2 are just going to close the frame. You don't need to open it. So in the main frame, we're going to add a frame, and I'm going to call this settings 1. actually I'm just going to call it the settings frame. And then this is going to be, I don't care what size. You can make it as big or as small as you want. And then add a text label for the top. Call this settings. And you can make this whatever color you want. And then I'm going to keep doing Gotham Bold because this is for all like the titles. Then add another label. That can say buttons coming soon. That's going to be text scale. I'm not actually adding more buttons because that's just more things to do. I can't deal with that. But the open settings button, which is text button 1, add a local script, then script.Parent.Mouse button 1 down, connect function. Now script.Parent.Parent.Visible equals, let me make sure I'm doing this right. So the first parent is the text button. The second parent would be the main frame. So then you want to do dot settings dot visible equals, okay, I can't here. True. That's for the open button, since since that's the way you open it. Now the text button 2 is your close button, so add a local script here, and it's script.Parent.Mouse button 1 down, connect function, script.Parent.Parent.Settings.Visible equals false. What I like to do to make sure it works is I test it after each button is done, and if it doesn't work, then I go back and make sure I did the coding right. So, well, I didn't do that right, but close settings worked. What did I do right? I didn't even spell that right. Whoops. Okay. Alright. So what I like to do is take the settings frame and make it invisible. That's what I do with every frame. And then I go and test it. Because when you make it invisible, you don't want it like right there off the bat, you know. You want it like being able to open and close it. Now open and close changelog, let's set that up next. So in main frame, add another frame. Let's call this frame changelog, obviously. But we're renaming the actual frame itself. Add a text box. That's not the text box. Add a text label. And then, you know, Gotham bold. And then text scale. And the background is gonna be beautiful, beautiful red. So I'm going to add another text label since this is just a changelog. I'm gonna make it this big and sorry. Just put like update version 2.1.3, I guess. I don't know. But this, I'll make it, background color will be black. Text color will be this red. Source sans, no. Gotham bold, text scale. That's what it'll look like. But we're not done yet. Button 3 is open, so add a local script. Script.Parent. Mouse button 1 down, connect function. I'll leave all the scripts down below, or at least like script.Parent.Parent.changelog.visible equals true. Like, I'll have this as, you know, I don't know. It won't be called changelog or settings, but it'll probably be like, you know, name, and then that's what you change it to. But that's to make the changelog visible. Now we're going to add a local script to the text button 4, and it's the same exact thing as we've been doing, except script.Parent.Changelog.Visible equals false. And then go ahead and test it. Just make sure you spell it as you have spelled the actual name of the frame, because it can be quite chaotic if you don't actually do that. Because why it matters how you spell it, if you put a space or not, why it matters how you spell it is because if you rename this frame, then that's the name you're going to have to be looking for with this. So like if you're trying to close the changelog, you need to spell it right in the script so that it actually knows to trigger the close whenever you click the button. Now, something I like to do on the main frame is I'll add a text label, I'll put it on top, and I'll just have this say like beta version 2.1.3, for example. Gotham bold, text scaled, text color, this blue on this background color. Then I'll add another to the frame here. I'll make sure they're like the same size. Then I'll put it on top. Then I'll put then what I do next is the same thing as the last, but text color, it's a different word, basically, that you know that. But this is how I do it, and this is the name of my actual group. I'll leave a link down below to go join it. But yeah, these are the buttons that you can use. These are the text labels I use. Skynet Productions, beta version 2.3.1, and you know, GUI selector v1. You don't even have to have that. If it says beta up here, you know, you already know what the version is, but this is like, you know, say you're going to come out with like a v2 that has more buttons, and you want to put it on Marketplace. Like, you can do you just can't take Skynet Productions client, because that's already one I'm working on, and I'm going to be adding that actually pretty soon. But I'm going to be adding like a bunch of other buttons to mine that I've made, that I've done a lot of work on. But yeah, some people have actually wanted, like, in their settings, like how people have made those phones, they've wanted in their settings, when you open it, the buttons that go color, change the color here, wallpaper, change the background color. Like, that's all like easy to do with scripting, because all you have to do is the settings frame, make this visible, But anyway, I do hope you did enjoy this tutorial on how to create a GUI selector right here that controls your settings opening and closing, opening a change all, closing that. I'll make one for like game passes. That's actually not that hard. I suggest you create the Game Pass client first, because it's like, just put it wherever you want on the screen. Just don't put it to where it's going to block this, because this is the only way you open and close it, unless you want to have it like you press this and then you press an X, like when you click open, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of doing these two buttons. So I just suggest having buttons out over here, because then people can like click this, it's just, it's a cool thing. I like it. You can even make the main frame smaller. I'm going to take these text levels. This text level. Oh, even that text level. There. Oh. Hold on. I didn't make that correct.
Cause I'm back in the nick of time and attacking the fickle mind. I'm a jackal, the rip aside, I'm a tackle, the pick a fight, I be Dracula, set the bite in the black of the bitter night, and I'm out! Poof.